Okay, how you doing? So we're playing another little bit of gameplay, some Call of Duty Ghosts on the PS4 with its freezing and its frame rate drops. Goodness me. I mean, let's be honest with you. I'm going to sort of let the cat out of a bag a little bit here. It makes me laugh because people are sort of correct in a lot of respects. I get a lot of people attack me whenever I sort of talk about these new games. And well, no, it's more when I talk about the new games and they say you'll be going back and playing Call of Duty Ghosts, or when I was playing Ghost, you'll go back and play Black Ops 2, I guarantee it. And you're like, no, and then you go like, yeah, I have done. You're right, I did. And for me, you know, Advanced Warfare is not my game. I don't really play it. The playability factor on that game is practically zero. So, you know, I don't like Call of Duty Ghosts too much. I find it quite dull, I find it quite slow. Sometimes it can be fast paced, it all depends on who you're playing with. You know, they say don't hate the player, hate the game. Sometimes you've got to hate the player because it depends on them in accordance with how your game runs. And sometimes you get a whole team of rushers and it's quite good fun, they make it exciting. And then unfortunately you go in other lobbies and people just don't move. Your teammates, their teammates, everybody's super glued to one position. And this game, I would play a lot more. This is on the PS4 obviously, but it's just the frame rate drops are so bloody unbearable, and the freezing, you know, whenever you get, sometimes when you get shot it just freezes altogether and you have to either turn your console off or change games, and sometimes the frame rate drops just go on. And I've been led to believe, at first I thought it was me, and you know, I was messing about with routers and settings and things thinking that it was something I could fix, and a lot of people were like, no, it's just a PS4 thing, it's just frame rate drop. And I think, well, why? Why have they let it get to that stage? Why has nobody gone back and fixed that? Why do the developers, I know they don't give a shit, I know I'm saying why and people will be like, it's because they don't give a shit. I know they don't give a shit, but they should give a shit, because I'll say one thing I have noticed playing on the PS4 as opposed to the Xbox 360 on this, and even the PS3, is that on the PS4 there's not many people who have these camos, you know, the micro transitions or transactions, whatever they're called. I don't really know because I've never purchased one, but you know, I've noticed that people don't run fancy camos on the gun. You know, you don't see rippers that have like green camo as if they're Ninja Turtles vomited on their gun. Or you don't see any wolves instead of Rileys. You probably do somewhere along the lines, but I suppose I could count on one hand after many hours of gameplay on this of how many people do actually run you know, these certain amount of microtransactions. And that is because people, I would imagine, look at it and say, why should I pump money into a game that is very, very unfixed and it's like barely finished? It's like this is like a beta copy, and I don't know at what point it ever got bad like this, or whether it was bad from day one, or whether there was some kind of update that spoilt this. But you would like to believe that the developers would have had enough notice about it and enough sort of information from people saying, look, it's dropping frames. From what I'm led to believe, it's because it obviously is supposed to run at 60 frames a second, and it seems to go past that 60 frames a second, and it just completely, it almost lags you out, and it's horrible. It makes me feel quite nauseous when I'm trying to watch the screen and there's too much happening and the movements are very juddery, and you're like, oh, you have to stop, lie down, let it play catch up, and then try and move again, and then it does it again, lie down, let it play catch up. Bloody hell, you know, it's like I've said, I'm going back to older Call of Duties and I'm having a lot more fun. I'm a lot more chilled out because Advanced Warfare isn't sort of floating my boat, but unfortunately Call of Duty Ghosts, which I was really looking forward to with the ground war aspect and the bigger maps and more people on the map, making it a little bit more exciting, is now just, sometimes it's unplayable. Not all the time, but you know, it can get to that point where you're like, shit, I need to take this out. And you know, if that was to be smart, and if Mr. Mark Rubin hadn't have sort of like released the game and then went completely AWOL off Twitter and let that Tina fucking whatever her name is with the Muffin Queen sort of not really answer questions and block people, they could have took some good advice. People could have said, look, this is no good, it's not playable. People would have put their hands in their pocket and paid for these things that I don't see the point of. But people do like to have camos, people do like to have a wolf instead of a dog. It's their own personalisation of things. I think it was a smart move for the developers to introduce that. It's a good business move. What isn't a good business move is taking care of a product that is essentially broken. It's almost, I don't know, it's almost sue-worthy, you know, you could sue them. Surely to God, if you pay for a product and it is not working correctly, you can either ask for your money back in some certain respects, or I don't know, you would like to think that the court proceedings could be an option. I know it's just like, oh, it's only a game. It's £50. How many people have paid £50 for this product, or $100 or whatever the fuck it works out to in American money, or however many bloody euros it works out to? People have paid this money and it doesn't work. They need to get their asses in gear, get back and fix Ghost, because there are a lot more people playing Ghost at this time, and a lot more people playing Black Ops 2, because people don't want to play Advanced Warfare. It's switch your brains on, people, and fix your shit. So yeah, besides all that, like I say, I've been going back and playing a lot more Call of Duty Ghosts, and I've been sort of enjoying it a little bit more. Not much, it still frustrates me, there's still a lot of things in there I'd like to change. I think it could have been a fantastic game if they would have removed thermal. I think thermal was the one thing that sort of killed this game, realistically. It always seems to me whenever I drop into a game, and you've got that sort of spectator mode, don't you ever find that whenever you're looking at somebody in spectator mode, they're always looking through a thermal scope? That means there's a problem. And you know, I know people might say, well, you can counter it, you can use what was it, incognito shit. You still show up as a black smudge, you still show up very clearly. It's frustrating, but hey, it's Call of Duty, that's what we're here for. And I know a lot of people, they always say to me as well in comments, like, I don't know why you play this, why do you play Call of Duty, you should stop. And it's like, okay, so what do you want me to do then? For every 2 people that say stop playing Call of Duty, there's going to be about 3,000 saying no, keep playing, keep bashing the game, keep fighting the fight. We need you to keep talking and saying what other people won't. And I guess I will do that for you. So yeah, what games are you going back and playing? Is there any Call of Duty that's floating your boat a little bit more at the moment? And you, like me, you finding that Call of Duty Ghosts is actually quite refreshing compared to Advanced Warfare? I know I've just completely swore there. That's a swear word I've just said. A whole selection of swear words, but it's just how I feel. Sorry about that. The one thing I will say is that when the next Call of Duty comes out, there is absolutely no way, shape and form I will go back to Advanced Warfare, because for me it has been the quickest played Call of Duty and the quickest game I've got fed up with out of any of them. At least the others had a little bit more staying power. This one for me has just been pooh, leave, apocalypse done.